Yay.
Okay. Okay, so everyone can see the recording, right? Okay, and everyone is fine with it. Good. The girls are over there too, so yeah.
So I guess yeah. So let's give it like I don't know, like 5 minutes.
Yeah. Exactly. Yes. Yes. Just a moment, we have come back. So, as a matter of fact, we'll have some audience in the room, right, like this. So I'll be sitting on this table. Regarding the format, we'll be asking questions. So, just a moment. Sorry. Sure. I'll be asking some questions. If you want to, you can start with the presentation first. Yep, and then we'll just open the floor for Q&As from everyone who is in the meeting. So, Anna, Nikita, we're very happy to welcome you both. So, Anna is the founder of Beyond Tech, a company that helps and works with individuals aiming for global talent visa. And Nikita is a founder of Coventry Street Advisors, an all-around company on advising on visa strategies within the UK. So,
yeah, like thank you so much for the intro. And so we hope you're not going to get bored on this lovely Thursday evening. So that's and please ask questions because so we want it to be like a two-way conversation rather than like a boring 7 p.m. like a lecture on visas. So, yeah, so I guess so like the topic like for today is I'll try to go super briefly over 5+1, so like possible ways of how to stay in the UK. So upon your graduation, so and as of March 2026, there's actually unfortunately, not that many routes how you can stay um, so upon completing your degree. So, and I think we'll try to, so as I said, I'm happy to take questions, and the plan is not to actually try to like demystify some of the concepts because there's lots of rumors and lots of things about each visa type, and so so I think I want to just start with the fact that unfortunately we're currently living in at the moment when UK is undergoing one of the greatest changes in the immigration law. So over the past many years, so we see kind of things coming out here and there. However, it's super important to not to confuse rumors with what has been already published. And specifically about the earned settlement, we're still getting questions pretty much every day on like it's the 10-year route is gone, everything is gone. Now it's everything is bad. Like nothing happened yet. There's been a discussion in Parliament which has ended. I think about a week ago, we got a report published on like again on more and more plans, but all those plans are mainly around the skilled worker visa. So with the route now planned to be around a 10-year mark with some kind of accelerations like possible depending on the salary which you're planning to earn. So if you supposedly if you'll be earning over 125,000, that's going to be a 3 year out. If it's between 50K and 125K, that's supposedly going to be a 5 year out. And if you're earning under 50K, but like remember, you still need to earn over 33K. So to even like qualify for the skilled worker visa graduate discount. So that's what's kind of supposed to be a 10-year out. However, what we know for sure is that the global talent visa is going to be untouched. The innovator founder visa is going to be untouched. Both of them have an opportunity to get you to ILR in 3 years. So that's why I think the whole like topic for today is that if you want to stay in the UK, and I think that's we can share probably with on our personal stories. That's quite a few of our friends kind of went to their original kind of home countries after graduation, but kind of many of them stayed. It's a pretty tough decision, which well, it's not easy, especially finding the first job, even the second job, and actually kind of finding yourself properly kind of like settled and working in your in like effectively in a new like country. That's 100% not easy, but I think the like getting eventually well, the British citizenship, especially if you don't have a strong passport, that's kind of becoming more and more kind of like strong kind of factors which people consider. And the stability of the UK. So, like who knows? Like 2 weeks ago, that will be like pretty much a war in the Middle East. So with kind of Dubai being like such as like safe haven, then we've got a conflict in Eastern Europe. We've got a conflict well, pretty much everywhere. So kind of in different parts of the world, in Africa as well. And I think UK is pretty safe geographically, and so that's what keeps me sleeping at night. So it's not the ideal country. I understand with but it's not the worst country to kind of to connect your life and um, so coming back to the visas. So on a skill, so route number one is a skilled worker visa. There are so many exceptions, rules, thresholds, and all sort of things. But if I just break it down to the very basics, um, like you need an employer who hold a sponsorship license. If you don't hold a sponsorship license, you come to us. We can get them it to them usually in 1 or 2 months' time. So your job, I mean, your main task is to find the job, and to get someone interested in you and hiring you. How they hire you? So whether they need to get a sponsorship license or they can get you like a tier 5, or maybe you're still kind of you get a graduate visa, which is excellent, by the way, because I think in our time with Anna we didn't have graduate visa whatsoever. So literally we have like 3 or 4 months upon completing the course, and that's it. So visa ends and you have kind of so little time to actually kind of show yourself to a possible employer. So now you're kind of yes, the graduate visa is going to be cut from 24 months to 18 months, but like who cares? It's still 1.5 years. That's a personal opinion because that's not such a massive difference. So I think in this time, so the main idea is to not focus on like only applying to the companies with the license, but actually educating your employers that the getting his license is extremely easy. So it's pretty cheap. I mean, especially compared that they're planning to hire you on what, on like 33.4 thousand pounds. That's that compared to the cost of the license, which is currently about £600, they're increasing it now. If you want it faster, it's okay, it's 1.1k, about like 2,000 of our fees. So I think overall, all the hassle, it easily can fit inside something like 3, 4, 5k, given that the license now is endless, so there's no renewal process. It used to be that you need to renew it every year, and it's pretty tedious, all gone. So now you just get it once, and that's it. So the second point is there's no labor market test, there's no quotas, there's no random things, which again, many of the kind of older, more British kind of employers are still very scared of. So it's extremely easy. You just get it, you get the person in, done. So you pay them a salary, so and it's all good. And the third thing is, yeah, it's not that hard to actually manage it. So, and they're opening up themselves to an opportunity to hire not just you, but like people from all over like the world. So including Asia, including Europe, because again, remember that the Brexit has happened already 5 years ago. And so basically by not having a license, any employer in the UK is just limiting themselves to a small UK, well, overpriced and underqualified market. So if I'll be honest, so in many cases, and like most employers are not kind of stupid. They understand that hiring an international kind of worker, it's well, they're probably going to be much more motivated to actually kind of deliver a much higher results than the locals. That's I mean that's probably a bit of hard truth, but I think so. Let's be honest. I think like people on the visas are usually working harder, and that's not a secret for employers either. And that's your ace. That's kind of that's how you can play the game to your advantage. So so like just focus on just kind of ticking this box that's yeah, you have the right to work in the UK. So if you ever asked, I mean, you're not technically lying because you are probably on this student visa or the graduate visa already. And well, you need the sponsorship in the future, but when it comes, you already need to prove yourself that you're kind of like worth this small hustle for 1 month. I mean, we'll pretty much, if the company been around for over a year, they'll have an annual report plus like PAYE and like the insurance and a few other documents. So with companies been around, which been around for a year and with one annual report, we can apply them usually super easily. So that's not a problem at all. So just kind of focus on them being interested specifically in you. So again, like don't forget that UK is an international company, and that's in knowing more than one language, meaning more than English, it's also beneficial because there's so many people and so many service providers who are working on different markets. And so like language skill, like even the Russian language, it's still a pretty strong asset to have, and don't underestimate it. And like networking is king. So unfortunately, I couldn't come last Friday, but we so like we hold regular networking sessions in London. I think there's every night at least 5 networking sessions happening, I don't know, maybe 25 working sessions happening. I mean, your university is right at the heart of London. So just go around the network. So I've managed to kind of like get like one of the nicest internships, like not through the official recruitment, but through just finding people effectively, well, in a pub after, I think it was like a Russian Business Week. So where I just kind of networked my way into an internship. Like in a small hedge fund, which was like a life-changing for me. So that was like long before I completely changed my career into the immigration law. So, but yeah, so I'm not that old, but I'm, but so I've done, so I've had effectively two kind of career passes so far already. Uh, but yeah, so the idea is just focus on being actually properly useful. And properly useful means sometimes combining a few roles in one. So just say, oh yeah, I can do obviously like whatever you do, whatever your role is. But oh, like you're probably young, you can also manage social media, you can manage that, you can like and remember that employers always think about if it's a small medium company they will think about money. So that's what kind of drives any economy, so any company. So if you can like come up with ideas, even if they're not proven, even if you're not 100% sure you'll deliver them, but you're like, yeah, we'll go there, we'll do like a few, I don't know, networking events, we'll do, I don't know, collaboration with us, we'll get you kind of more clients and more money. They're like, okay, so I like this guy, so they or ladies, they all kind of bring us money. That's I think that's kind of the well just try to put yourself in a employer's shoe and try to think how they think rather than just trying to show your CV and say, oh yeah, I'm such a great person. Yes, you are, but that's kind of like hundreds of really nice graduates. So and similar for the interview, kind of like focus on what the company is doing, what you find like on their website, on their social media. Maybe they don't have strong social media. Again, you can say, oh yeah, I can do that, but also like have a sort of like blah blah blah, and like maybe connecting them with some nice kind of small marketing companies which can kind of boost their sales, etc., etc. That's so. I think from again me being an employer now, so kind of like having 5 people on the team, I think seeing a proactive candidate, that's the strongest, well, advantage over any other candidate with an equally kind of good CV and obviously kind of good university as everyone of you will have. But anyways, please do stop me and please ask questions. So to wrap up the skilled worker visa, like get someone interested in you, and for that you should give a strong value proposition on how you are going to make something better, earn more money, effectively be proactive. And if they don't hold the license, probably come to us or kind of sort it out with them. It's like all visa stuff is somehow is still kind of scary, weird for it's weird for employers, but it's like it's so cheap compared to the decision making, which goes around hiring you for like 33.4K. So that should not be a problem at all. So that's always solvable. So if for some reason they don't want to, they can't do a skilled worker license and hire you, then there is still, and your graduate visa, for example, is running out. There is a kind of a bonus visa, which is called Tier 5 Authorised Exchange, which is effectively any employer without sponsorship license can get anyone with a recent degree. So anyone who graduated in the last 2 or 3 4 years, I mean, they're pretty flexible, and you just go through a different recruitment process. The drawback that you must apply from a country of your nationality or your permanent residency or temporary residency. So yeah, you have to fly out and fly back in. So, but effectively, and as long as someone is willing to pay you a basic wage, which is like 12 pounds, like 40 times minimum hour, so effectively 18K, so which is barely survivable for like in London, like anyway. So that's, I mean, that's what like people must be paid even, let's say, as a baristas, right? So if someone willing to take you at least on a minimum wage, they can take you without any license for 1 year on this tier 5 visa. So, and then you kind of prove yourself worthy, and then they'll probably like kind of get the skilled worker license for 2, 3, 4, 5K and hire you on a 33.4K, which is the discounted minimum base salary for at the moment as we speak. And then, so that's why people are getting confused. Your discounted wage at 33.4K ends after 4 years of either being on a graduate visa or already working. So, for example, 2 years of graduate visa plus 2 years of working. So after that time, you must be kind of your salary must be increased to the well basic minimum for the role or the universal basis of 41.7K. So you don't have to get the 41.7K immediately, but after 4 years, or like it can be 1 year on graduate, then you already got on a skilled worker visa, then 3 years on a skilled worker, right? So a total of 4 years after finishing uni, you have this discount of 33.4K, not the 41.7. So that's important and sometimes a little bit confusing for everyone, but like again, I mean, we're more than happy uh, to help with all this kind of well, admin legal work, and it's never really an issue if someone really wants to hire you. So anyways, like just so I can give like a word to Anna. So if you don't want to be relied on the new potential rules of having like 3, 5, 10 year route on a skilled worker visa, or going through all this mess, it's a really good idea to utilize your strongest resource, which is time, and actually start investing in things which can be used for either an innovator founder route, I'll talk about it in a second, or a global talent route, which are brilliant routes for kind of effectively getting your ILR in 3 or 5 years. They are already kind of preserved from any changes because that's already been, well, kind of officially said and mentioned many, many times. And honestly, I don't think that it's going to be changed because UK is competing with other countries, even with France, even with US on those programs for the talented people, and it's definitely not in their well in their yeah in their advantage to actually make it super tough for talented people to come here because then they'll just lose them all to France. Right. So, and talented people bring lots of money, lots of business, and that's very good for the economy. So they're going to keep it, I think, in pretty much unchanged way. If anything, they're planning to probably just increase the number of routes um, or, or something positive like in the future. So, but the biggest problem with global talent route is that on top of just being, well, effectively talented, doing some eligible occupation, it's very important to have an external validation of what you're doing. And that's where a lot of candidates effectively kind of understand that they need this second component too late. And unfortunately, like the Home Office and the Tech Nations Art Council are not stupid. They, if you start kind of going around the conferences and speaking about your product or whatever you're doing, writing an articles like I don't know every week. So at the like a few months before your application date for the Global Talent Visa, they'll see it and they'll ask, "Oh, why haven't you done anything in the past 5 years?" So, and that's why if you're planning on potentially qualifying for this visa, maybe in 2 year time, in 3 year time, it's very good to start on a skilled worker visa because the years on a skilled worker visa counts towards the global talent. So if you spend 1.5 year maybe on a skilled worker visa, then you only need maybe 3.5 years on on a promise visa. So that's still a good idea to start working, but to get the fastest way to ILR, you can effectively kind of plot the seeds right now, and the seed is effectively having a strong public recognition, like something what kind of like people call a brand, like a personal brand. So I hope quite a few people know who kind of Nikita is in London, so hopefully, and who Anna is. So and that's so I guess that's how we kind of met Amelia and how they found us. So because even our brand I think is too weak. There's idea of, well, you can build a much stronger brands, especially for the global talent, and it's something which you're not just doing for the visa, but let's say if you, I don't know, like get tired of UK or whatever, Europe has global talent programs, Australia does, US does, and they all require this public profile. And yeah, I think I'll just stop kind of talking for a second, just so you'll start getting bored of me. So I'll pass it to Anna on how we kind of usually build this part. So in a collaboration.
Thank you, Nikita. I think after your speech, it's very difficult to add something, but I will try. So yeah, my name is Anna. We work closely with Nikita, and I also have my own practice. We work with global talent applicants for the, I think, past 3 or 4 years. So the idea of global talent, I think the main thing from what I want to start is with the goal. So is the first question I usually ask every like candidate who speaks with me, right? What's your goal? Most probably your goal right now is just to stay in UK. You don't think about ILR. I didn't think about ILR or citizenship when I was graduating from bachelor's or master's, to be honest. So, but it's a good idea to combine it to it's a good idea to think how you can stay and then how you can get the documents or like the citizenship faster. So it's just a good thing to think about. With global talent, I'll tell a few points just so you know. The global talent itself is divided into 3 routes. So you can get the global talent visa in culture track, in science track, or IT track. So culture is divided by itself by 4 or 5 routes. So designers would get one endorsing body, the artist would be under another one, and I think filmmaking and fashion is third and fashion fourth endorsing body. So then we have science route. It's for anyone who completed PhD. I think for you it's too early, but if you're considering academic route, it is something to look into. And then there is AT route. The tech route, which is predominantly for people who works in startups. And it is very important because technician, the IT route, they don't accept anyone from like corporate sphere or consulting sphere or outsourcing and outstaffing. So the first step would be to understand where you kind of work now, you have internships now, or you're planning to, because with global talent, essentially what they're doing, at the moment when you're applying, they're looking at the 5 years back and they see where you've been graduated, what the work experience you had. And if your work experience is not product-led, in simple terms, it's any app, software app that you basically have on your iPhone or any phone. So they will, most probably, you will not qualify for this visa. So the first step is to make a strategy where you want to work, right? So this is the work stage, I think. The second thing that you need to think about is your position. Position is simple. They divide positions between tech and business. Tech is everything. It is everything considering software engineer, ML engineer, basically with coding. Anything with strategy, operations, and sales would qualify under business track. And the good thing that Nikita already mentioned is to think in advance, because what we see in 9 out of 10 cases, to be honest, when the person comes to the consultation and says like, okay, I want to get the global talent visa in like 1 month, and it's not possible because at the moment when you already have an assessment, you should have at least 9 to 10 public activities. That what Nikita asked, told you previously, right? So the publicity is very important, and it's actually what you or any candidate can work at any day, but it's very important to have strong positioning. So any publicity wouldn't work. So I would suggest, if you're considering this route, to first to qualify and to make a positioning. So okay, I qualify as this applicant, as tech or business applicant, if my work experience good enough, or even if you don't have work experience, so what am I going to spend next year or 2 years, right, at work? So this would be the starting point, and I definitely suggest you to do it, because we see lots of applicants who come, for example, they would work at consulting or VC or asset management. It's the positions that would qualify for sponsorship license and for skilled worker, right? But you can't use this experience when you apply for global talent. So it's good to have a strategy if you are considering this route later in your career. So this, I think, this good point. One point I want to mention as well, that almost in every visa they have promising talent. The promising talent is a category which is specifically designed for people in the early stage of their career, like you. So people who has up to 5 years of the experience. So basically, how this route is different from exceptional talent. So first, this route is more simpler. So the idea, you still need the exact same set of documents, but they expect less from the applicant for promising talent. For example, 7 public activities rather than 10, or 2 work projects rather than 4, because obviously you're in the earlier career and you don't have a lot of metrics or results. The only difference that it is in IT route, it's 5 years to ILR, which is permanent residence. It's not free, but in science route, it would be the same. So it's also, you need to check in terms of if you want to apply for promising talent or exceptional. I think, to be honest, there's a lot to say, but I would rather stick to the questions. If you have any, or if you have any now, or maybe Nikita, you can go over Innovator and then we can answer the questions. Because yeah, I think that's it about global talent. The most common candidates, I would say, are from that I've met from product companies, from software companies. So usually the kind of questions that we ask, so what kind of product you have, then we eliminate any consulting, any outsource, any out stuff. So Meta, Google, any big tech would work. Any startup that provides the product would work, and then you need to identify what kind of work you do there, right? And then we go deeper and deeper. We go kind of asking the question, what kind of projects you do, what kind of publicity outside of your employer you have, and that's how you build your global talent, pretty much. Yeah. But the timings are completely different to skilled worker. So I agree with Nikita on the point that a lot of candidates, they actually start building their case once they receive graduate visa, or after year 1 on graduate visa, because it takes time. It takes usually 12 months to build public track, and then 3 months to build your portfolio. And then you have also waiting times of the decision, and not every candidate receives the global talent visa from the first attempt. So it's better to think about it really in advance. So I think that's it, what I wanted to share. Nikita, passing to Innovator Founder, and then I think we can answer.
Yeah, so just so thanks a lot for that. So yeah, so I guess with the global talent, again, it's super nice visa to have, but just kind of don't forget that just getting a nice job in a relevant company, product company, and I think I'll just probably just quickly mention that it's not only working for Google or large corporates. It can be a small but digital product led kind of company, but it's still not not too small. There should be some impact of the company on the industry. So it shouldn't be just like, I don't know, like doing an app for 5 users. So so there's some balance between Google and app for 5 users. So somewhere in between will work as well. So, but just getting a nice kind of job, or maybe if we're talking about the art track, so like doing kind of lots of photography and actually get your things on the exhibitions, so so that people are coming and seeing it, and kind of like collecting a strong portfolio as an artist or as a designer. So it's not just good enough, so you should be actively so UK sees someone talented who is also contributing to the industry and sharing their success with others. So, and who's writing articles, doing mentorship, doing all sort of things. So just to kind of don't stay quiet and only rely on a strong kind of career path for the global talent. So I think it's extremely individual. But if you're considering going in a strong kind of digital kind of tech role, or you're considering getting a PhD, so which will then automatically qualify you for the academic track, or you're considering actually exhibiting your designer product, your art product on many exhibitions. Super important point here is the exhibition should be unpaid, so not like you're paid to demonstrate something, but someone should genuinely want to exhibit your pieces somewhere. So kind of your photography, your design, etc. And if you're thinking that you have some potential there, we can talk you through how to. So probably it's easier like if you have a consultation one-on-one, and we'll talk you through how to make sure that you get enough evidences. So by year 1, year 2, usually I think it's enough to get it throughout the 2 years of graduate visa. I think if you have this kind of goal in mind over the 2 years, over like this effectively a free ride when you can do anything on a graduate visa, I think it's probably possible, yeah, to get enough of kind of vacation, kind of like, the media vibe around you, so to qualify. But anyways, if you already know that like you don't want to be stuck with a skilled worker visa, you're not in a digital kind of tech product-led kind of like career path, not academia, not design, or like actually someone who's doing like a lot in art. So then you should probably um, actually like consider being an entrepreneur. So that's often overlooked kind of visa type, but in probably because people think that it's extremely hard, and it is. I'll talk about it in a second. Previously, so even after my graduation, I managed to get a graduate visa, which was specifically designed for like a small startup-y kind of niche, very easy to start businesses. So then it got evolved into a graduate entrepreneur visa. And so but this path of like easy small scale business has now completely closed up in 2024. And there was always a second path for a more mature type of business, which was called an entrepreneur. Now it's called an innovator, now innovator founder. So like again, just so you're not confused when maybe reading well, how it was in the past with, I don't know, with ChatGPT, etc. Because even on some websites or some of our kind of competitors and other lawyers I saw, they still have entrepreneur visa, graduate entrepreneur as one of the options. Like it's all gone. Now it's only one and single type of visa called innovator founder. And this visa type, as I said, unfortunately was designed for more mature projects. But what is a mature project? So what really Home Office wants you to do and to see. As I'm looking, well, at your CV, but not as much as in the global talent like case. So you should complete a good degree, which you're already doing. You should have some-ish knowledge, what understanding of what life is about, like maybe a year of work experience. But we've even managed to have candidates, so almost kind of starting to develop their business ideas throughout the graduate visa. So 1 or 2 years after uni is completely fine. So you don't have to be a serial entrepreneur or have a strong CV to qualify kind of personally. But your business idea should be innovative, it should be scalable, and what it means in practice, it's usually some kind of digital tech product. So because by definition, anything like an app or a platform of some kind of aggregating something, etc., it will be scalable and innovative because there's no limit of how much it can grow, right? So but we've had clients who are doing like well, again, with much more investment. Obviously, but they even started a small factory kind of near Oxford, around biofuel, and kind of if you're into chemistry. So that's a thing to consider. So kind of money wise, um, you will probably need someone to help you with a business plan. It's not mandatory, but from our experience, again, there was this kind of graduate entrepreneurship route when, for example, me and my friend, we got this visa back in 2018, and we wrote it, well, the business plan in around 60 pages with a kind of with the business degrees in mind and economic degrees, and with, well, about kind of 2 weeks of kind of hard work as a university project, managed to do it. For the Innovator Founder round, I think the expectations are about 100 plus pages of really detailed, hardcore analysis of, well, of why there is a niche for this product, why this niche is not occupied, so a proper market research, so with actual real data, so like not like ChatGPT, hey, generate me a few ideas. So you should be like actually invest. Usually it takes months or two to do a proper analysis of the market, explain why this product doesn't exist and why it fits the UK market and why UK actually need this product. And you also should be able to show very robust financials, so a detailed financial model for at least 3 years of your operations, and have it quite um, ambitious, but not too ambitious, so that you can't achieve it by year three. So kind of saying, oh, by year three we'll get kind of 1 million users or 1 million in revenue. That's ambitious, and you can get in trouble when passing an ILR, so the settlement step. But again, so here that's where we can help. We are so again, for many years we're partnering with a firm who actually specializes in writing business plan. You're more than obviously welcome to pick any firm, but I mean, in general, I'm just trying to be cautious that I don't think it's possible unless you have already launched a few startups and really understand how kind of how pitching works and how all that works, and you have super strong business degree and experience. That I don't think it's possible as a graduate to write a business plan to the standard expected for this visa. So definitely ask external help. It's not expensive. I mean, the company we're working with is around 5K. So that's what they're charging for kind of supporting you through this process of kind of writing it up and then actually pitching it to one of the endorsing bodies. The pitching is not hard actually, so they just ask you to make sure that you wrote it, or at least, well, you wrote it with someone. That's not prohibited. So, but like that's you, well, know what the product is, like what's actually going on, and I think that's super easy for everyone to pass this interview. So by just properly reading, so whatever is written there. Then and then you effectively just do the interview. Then you effectively kind of get Innovator Founder visa, and many people think, oh, that's it. Okay, great. I have 3 years to stay in a country. Unlike the global talent visa, which we just discussed, where all the hard work has been put in, you get the visa, you get endorsement, and you get basically a complete carte blanche. Basically, you do whatever you want for 3 or 5 years, depending if it's a promise or a talent. So if you're young, it's probably you're gonna get it for 5 years. So and then ILR, they at the end of 5 years, they just ask you, oh, okay, have you done like at least anything in your field? Show us, I don't know, 1 or 2 contracts. Show us that you earned maybe 2, 3, 4,000 pounds. So super easy, right? So but that's a global talent. So that's they've actually not really picky on you after you get it. With Innovator Founder visa, they're much more picky, and you need to be reporting to your endorsing body at the end of year 1, year 2, and year 3. With year 3 being well, extremely picky because that's your year when you're applying on the ILR, so they want to understand what you've done. But again, don't be scared because UK is very kind of accommodating like country where they apply common sense to life and to visas and to immigration, and they want to see your efforts, not necessarily the results. So what I mean under that, scenario A, a guy again like done a brilliant business plan with some help probably, so get a visa for 3 years. They're like, okay, I'm going to be kind of, well, I'm a good speaker, I'm a good talker. So at the end of year 1, I'm going to just kind of like talk my way through this checkpoint and say, oh yeah, like I'll go and do something, like some like life events. I haven't really started a company. They're probably going to let you pass. At the end of year 2, there's another checkpoint. They said, oh yeah, I'm still so I don't know, I broke up with my girlfriend, I have some personal like circumstances, whatever. So even as kind of a silly like that, then don't really care that super much. So, and if you can talk your way through, you probably will. But it then comes year 3 when you actually now doing the checkpoint with the Home Office and not with endorsing body. So they'll ask you, oh, okay, what have you done? And well, that's a real life case, unfortunately, with a person starting actually doing something towards their business, actually, getting in office, starting developing a product. So actually trying to launch like a minimum viable product, MVP as it's called, in the middle of second year or towards the end of, or actually towards the end of the third year. And like, guess what? Like he didn't pass because the Home Office asked, okay, well, what on earth were you doing for the first 2.5 years? Well, effectively nothing, just basically partying. So, but the opposite kind of like scenario, so kind of like scenario B, a person basically had an idea in mind. They wrote a nice business plan, presented it, it got approved. He started doing it from the year 1. So because he's not a coder, he got himself like a guy. So he hired a guy who can code him a platform. He paid him, I don't know, like 10K, like whatever. So it's not that expensive. And overall, we've seen successful projects under under 80K over the course of 3 years. So that's to give you some idea in mind. It's not cheap to develop something, but if you're not a tech person and you probably will need to hire someone, you would probably need an office and some other expensing on marketing, on launching things, right? And in London, to be realistic, it's about 20 or 30K of either your investment or someone else's investment if you can raise it kind of per year. So 20, 30K, around 20K in first year, about 30K second year, maybe about 30K in the third year. So about 60, 70,000 pounds. That's what you, I think, realistically speaking, may need to start a small startup in the UK, given how the prices are. So that's probably the price of your kind of masters, like to be honest, and like a little bit more. So it's not that expensive to actually launch a small scale startup in the UK. So kind of, but like you still should be realistic that you have some money either as a family investment, which is totally allowed, or as a kind of finding some maybe an angel investor, or that's not prohibited. So again, there's lots of money flowing in London, so it's still one of the hubs for for the startups to raise funds. And again, I know stories of people finishing one of the top 5 London unis and easily raising 100K to 100K into their startup. So, and that's not impossible at all. So if you have this kind of goal in mind, so there's a lot of kind of free money kind of floating around. So London for obviously kind of a share in your company, but so that's obviously your choice. But anyways, So again, to finish off, the kind of scenario B is when a person been trying, they launched a small kind of minimum viable product, like a small platform. They try to get the users and start selling. And then after first 1.5 years, after first 2 years, they figure out that basically it's not selling off. Okay, what they've done, so I think he fired his 1 or 2 employees. He got a new idea in mind. He started developing it, and he started showing some sales, maybe let's say 15K in sales or 20,000 in sales. So again, like nothing crazy, no like another Facebook or Google or whatsoever, just like small niche thing. But there's been some clients coming in, some sales, a few maybe 100 users. So yeah, and he passed the ILR easily because it's not about the success and doing like a super strong, I don't know, show and super strong numbers at the end, but it's about showing the process and just kind of recording it, maybe communicating even not just once a year with your endorsing body, but maybe even just writing them a mail every quarter. Why not? So just showing, hey, I mean, I've tried this doing this product. It's basically it's not selling. I mean, that's the truth. That's a economy. I can't force people to buy it, so I'm just abandoning it. So, but you assessed on efforts, not necessarily the KPIs, which is a bit weird, but I mean, it's like think of like how it's been in the kindergarten or in in those ages. So that's if you're trying, so that's good. Not trying and just I don't know, just out of nowhere showing some numbers and some oh yeah, like I got 100K investment, like nobody will actually care in that. So and what I'm trying to say is that I'm happy to talk through that, but you should have some idea in mind. You should be committed to just keep it, like keep pushing it and have maybe idea of where you'll find about 20 or 30K each year on like various expenses like an accountant. You probably expected to get an office, which is about, I don't know, 300-400 pounds a month. So kind of an accountant there, maybe some kind of a few K on marketing here and there, maybe a few K on someone who can write you a platform, a code. So, but I think it's so if you have some funds around 100K over the course of 3 years, and if you have some idea and interest in being an entrepreneur, it's definitely possible. So that's I think the main purpose of kind of quickly going through this route. It's definitely not possible if you are planning to just kind of get this visa and think that it will somehow kind of pass. Yes, it is possible to get the visa and maybe after 2 years of pretty much semi not doing anything, just switch to some other visa and effectively buy yourself 1 or 2 years. That's an expensive, well, buy of time. So after graduate visa, but yes, people ask me, and that's hypothetically possible. Because you should be very honest with yourself, whether you are actually doing something, and the home office are not stupid. They'll know like for real if you just well showing a nice picture or you actually been doing something, maybe not successful and failing or not. So that's an important distinction which they want to see. They want to see people trying, not necessarily succeeding. Yeah, so that's still a very good thing because it's 3 years to ILR. It's entrepreneurship and not for everyone, but kind of keep that in mind that this route exists. And then just to finish off, because I promised you 5 routes. So yeah, you can obviously like get engaged, married, or even have a 2 year relationship with someone. So because so that's completely legal and people just often kind of forget about it. Obviously, like in no way I'm advising on any like sham marriages or any like fake relationship, fake marriages. That's completely illegal, and you might be called for the interview or like it's again. Don't think the home office is stupid because they will probably see. But we have so many stories when people maybe been working on skilled worker visa for like 2 years in parallel, having well actual relationship kind of long lasting with someone on ILR or on a visa or on a or obviously the British citizenship, or EU people on a settled scheme. So right, so anyone will qualify, and then like, oh, okay, like wait a second. So you've been well, you don't necessarily have to live for 2 years, so that's an old requirement. So to cohabitate for 2 years in one address and have the proof of that, it's possible to get an unmarried partner visa, which not many people know about, by living in two different addresses. But then you'll need to show that you have kind of regular trips. You have maybe like a dog, or of whom you have like a joint custody or of some kind, or you have so so living together for 2 years is ideal. And then, yes, you don't have to get married because that will qualify. So if you're not kind of ready for it, so 2 years of cohabitation, that's an ideal case for those sort of family visas. But then even maybe living for 1 year now and substituting another year with a lot of trips, with a lot of I mean, it should be obvious from whatever evidences you're providing that you're beyond just dating stage and you're in a relationship stage. It's very subjective, it's very unique. It's how we show your story by writing a letters, maybe that you've met each other's parents, like, or things like that. So it should come very naturally. It's not an easy case, but it's possible. And sometimes, I mean, it's a straight path to ILR in 5 years still. So like, it's not like, yeah, I'm just mentioning it because people should not ignore it because this path exists. It's normal. Well, it's a family route because well, everyone have families, and families should not be disconnected because of not having a visa. So obviously, don't do it like in a kind of in a fake manner for the fake marriages. We're definitely not encouraging that in any way. So, but if you're already in this kind of situation, then I mean, why not consider it? It's not like it's a family visa. Okay, and don't confuse family visa with a dependent. If you're in a relation with someone who is on the visa, you'll be a dependent. And there's no English language requirements and no financial requirements. And in fact, you can just be added to, well, kind of added to their visa. So for as long as they have a visa. A spouse visa is if you're in a relationship with someone who is already on ILR, settled status, or British citizen. So, and for that one, you need to show that you have a combined income of 29,000, that you have somewhere to live, and you have like a one English level. So effectively, you can order a coffee. That's again not hard, but the dependent visa doesn't well, leads you in 5 years currently, but they want to extend it to 10. Spouse visa is already going to be fixed for a 5 year period. So for that reason, one of the things which we are doing now, if for example someone's partner has recently received an ILR, it's a good idea to consider yourself not to stay as a dependent, but to switch to a spouse visa. But that's a long story. Like we'll consider it kind of case by case, but there are effectively just two types of visas, and there's always married and unmarried dependent, married and unmarried family. So which we can kind of talk you through. Oh, and the last thing is there is always a 10-year ILR, which is not to be ignored. It's probably going to be cancelled sometime this year. But if you've been in the UK for a long time, do your day count. You'll be surprised how many people kind of come to us. We do a request to the Home Office, which is called a SAR, Subject Access Request. So it's completely free. It takes literally kind of like 30 days and not less, and usually not more. They'll send you like a massive 100-page PDF with all your trips and everything they hold on you. So, but most importantly, your trips and your days in and out. So you do your math, and your math is effectively not exceeding 540 days between whenever you start living in the UK and April of 2024. So your total absences in this period should not exceed 540 days. And from April until, well, now you should not exceed more than 180 days. And if you qualify and if you stayed already for like 9 years, maybe you can just stay for 1 year on a skilled worker or whatever. So on the youth mobility scheme, which I mentioned earlier, and then just kind of like somehow survive for this 1 year, then get a 10-year ILR, or so that's also might be an option for you. So kind of don't ignore this 10-year mix and match, but it should be without any breaks. So if you have a break and you've been on, like, say, a tourist visa, that will kind of break your residence, obviously. So, but a mix of match of school plus bachelor's plus master's plus maybe a PhD and 1 year of work. I mean, we're getting these cases all the time. So that is something to consider. Okay, I think so let me know if I've bored everyone already to death on this lovely Thursday evening, but I hope it wasn't too technical. So I'm open for any questions.
Fantastic, Nikita. Thank you so much. Thank you to you both, Nikita and Anna. I'm wondering, can you hear me well? Yes,
Yeah.
you can. Okay, that's good. That's good. Thank you. So I have now prepared a few questions, but I would like to ask whether someone from the audience has any.
May I ask,
Yeah,
from your point of view, which visa route is the easiest?
Hope so.
Dangerous.
Yeah, okay, so let me
In
just
the-
repeat. Yeah, so from your point of view, which visa route do you think is the easiest to get right now?
It all depends. It's like prescribing like paracetamol to everyone. So it's so like think of immigration lawyers as doctors. It's hard to prescribe a medicine without knowing kind of a history of your disease. So for
Maybe you
if
can tell the situation. Well, what kind of degree you're in, like what year you're now?
Oh, it's
You can come if you want. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. I think it should be easier this way.
well, it's a long story. I'm actually a student in Italy. And I did my master's in Italy for 2 years, and 1 year I spent in Glasgow as an exchange student, and now I'm here in London for an internship, which will take place for like 3 months. And they don't have a sponsorship, so they can't provide me sponsorship. I know it, and I'm thinking how I can stay. So that's my case.
Let me
Mhm.
answer and then Nikita will share. So from what so the no sponsorship thing is the usual thing. So that's what company usually say. So what I would do, I would speak maybe to the company in which case they will, because the sponsorship itself, it's very straightforward. It's not expensive. Usually the companies, they just don't want to do it because it's a hassle, but it's the prices, if you would know the process, it's not that complicated, right? So I would maybe speak to the employer depending on how you perform, right, in these 3 months, and ask them what, like, in which case they can sponsor you visa or you can stay longer, for example. But what kind of visa you are now on? Tourist visa?
Yeah, I have a visitor visa for research. So I'm doing like a research for my thesis for Italy, but it's basically an internship.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, as Nikita said, to be honest, the routes are very limited. So it's either you working for like internships and then trying to kind of change it to sponsorship license, or that's pretty much it in terms of what. And then global talent, you need to understand what kind of company, what kind of research. So I would maybe ask you if you would, yeah. So what kind of company is this? What they do?
Um, it's I'm doing marketing for like a company which is selling uh different products like for hair, for like makeup and stuff. I don't remember
Okay.
how to call it in English. Yeah, but that's basically what they're doing.
That's fine. Maybe Nikita has another like opinion, but I would either like work with them for some period of time. Even if you come back to Italy, you can still work for them. For example, show them some results, and then they can for maybe offer you a job sponsorship or find some another companies. So I actually, yeah, I spoke recently, like I think 2 weeks ago, I met a person. She's on, either on year 3 bachelor's or master's, and I've asked her, yeah, she's actually on year 2, and she's doing free internship in parallel marketing as well. And I asked, why you doing this? And she said, like, because I actually want to stay in London, and her hope is that one of the company will sponsor the visa. But yes, she works like for art gallery, for marketing, for PR agency, and for something else. So free companies part-time, but yeah, so this also could be an option. Even then the company, if telling you that they not is gonna sponsor visa, to be honest, it doesn't mean anything. When I was a student, I exactly remember the stories that when we had company who would come and say like about their like about the company, but then they would specifically say we will not sponsor visa. And then I remember that's how my friend actually got to the last stages of interview, and they hired her and they sponsored her visa. But for some companies they do it because they don't want to deal with amount of people who are applying for a position. But this is just my opinion. It obviously depends on Nikita told very good point at the start about the business, how the like you need to think from the company perspective, why would they hire you and not another person, right? So maybe Nikita, you have something to add.
Yeah, think about, well, I mean, money, right? So everything can be quantifiable in pounds or dollars, so effectively, and especially any kind of business decision. So if okay, that's kind of my personal opinion. Okay, so but from my understanding of how on average, well, companies is are working, so that's as a person, you should probably usually kind of like generating kind of double your salary in value. So if you're kind of doing the sales, you should be like at least maybe like selling for 100K, so that your salary is maybe about like kind of 50K, right? Because like you should somehow also there should be something left for the company to, I don't know, to have an office to operate, et cetera, right? So you should kind of always, step one, estimate how much value you're creating in, well, in pounds on average. It's very hard for different roles, but and see that's so I think if and my employee would be generating me 100K in revenue, in work, in product, kind of like delivered, I would easily pay them 50K. And then it's a question of, oh, you don't have a visa. I mean, I don't care because it costs 2 or 3 thousand pounds again. So that's a completely different conversation to have because it's really not that hard. So, and if for some reason they have, and many people still do have beliefs that it's super complex, hard, lots of admin work. It's not. Just educating them is a good thing, and having this honest conversation, or why you're not getting this visa. And they said, oh, because it will take me, I don't know, I need to hire like 2 people to maintain the license, and I'll need to spend next like 5 months without vacations to actually to get this visa. No, so they have a misbelief. You just help them fix it. So that's kind of an honest conversation which you can have uh, with them. Um, Another thing which I was going to say. Well, in your stage, just consider the government authorized exchange, which I mentioned, which you need to, which they can get you for as long as they willing to give you a contract on a at least minimum wage. So you bring this contract to one of the endorsing bodies, which are completely separate endorsing bodies from like the Global Talent and Innovator. Different bureaus have different endorsing bodies. So so again, or you can come to us and we'll have with that. But as long as you have a contract and someone willing to hire you minimum wage, you effectively just bring it to this endorsing body. They give endorsement to this company to hire you for this role. The role should not be with a kind of an irreplaceable. So if there must be already a marketing person in a company for this specific visa, so you must be an assistant to an existing kind of marketing manager, or an assistant to a sales manager, or an assistant to someone. So because you cannot occupy a kind of the only function in the company, that's important to be in your job contract, and you should have graduated in the last 3 years, and you should speak at least basic English. So with like I think B1 or something. So and that's a good visa to consider. So again, that just will give you a legal right to study in the UK or to work in the UK for 1 year, with even with the possibility to extend it to 24 months in some cases. So, but that's really case by case. So, and then in this time, usually the idea is you convince your company to get sponsorship license and move you to a skilled worker. So that's how it's usually done.
Okay, thank you. Also, I've heard that for global talent visa, in the science route, if you don't have a PhD, you can still get endorsed if you can secure a like research internship at the university, which can sponsor your visa and get endorsed. Is it true or no?
So me, Anna, so what do you think? So yeah, there is a different subcategories of an academic like route. So where if you are, for example, a part of the grant on a specific academic research, then in some conditions you can be potentially a part of that. So, or obviously, if you won like one of the kind of prestigious prizes, but we probably ignore this part unless, well, you're already very strong in academia. But yeah, so it's either peer review where you have a strong kind of say record of your articles being cited by many well other people in academia. So you should just have strong portfolio of academic articles. Or yes, indeed, you can be a part of a research grant for a specific innovation. So and well, if you have some grant in mind, and there is a separate list, we can so basically like consider if it's ineligible or not.
So in this case, I shouldn't have a PhD.
You should have like a strong research experience, well, with kind of there's different types of masters which you have potentially can do. There's like a taught masters where you just been taught and attend lectures like you do in bachelors, and there's like a research focused masters. So if you've done this one, then you can potentially qualify without a PhD in some
Okay.
cases.
Okay, thank you so much for your answers, and maybe I will contact you later because I have lots of questions on my situation.
Yeah, sure. So we leave our kind of details and links, or you can ask the organizers for them.
Yes, definitely. So I think we'll definitely share your details in a format that is convenient for you. So I'll definitely just keep them. So afterwards, we'll just communicate and then publish. So yeah, as you wish. So I think Inna, please go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the talk. I have just one quick question in terms of the T5 visa that you mentioned. Is it relevant to any job and any employer as long as I have a contract, or is it like only certain types? Because I've Googled it and I found like that some websites mostly focus on like charity. If you have a kind of contract with some charity or international organizations, or is it relevant to anything?
The different, yeah, that's very good question. There are like 5 or 6 subcategories of Tier 5 visa. So, but there's definitely one for the charity work, and some charities need to have the special charity sponsorship license. Well, but then you basically cannot get paid, right? So because it's charity. But there is a specific subcategory called GAE, Government Authorized Exchange, which is suitable for, well, literally any employer. So it can be a consultancy, a small kind of startup. It can be any company without the sponsorship license whatsoever. So, but as long as they are interested in hiring you, so and paying you the minimum wage, so
Nikita,
that's
I
pretty
think
much
you are
all good.
you actually need the license for this. I think it's just different.
No, like you definitely, well, I mean, I I went through this route in 2019 and it hasn't changed since then. So I'm
Okay.
so you need to get it's basically the holder of responsibilities is this endorsing body, which is usually the Access Tier 5 or BUNAC, it's called. So there are like about 9 endorsing bodies or 10, but the active ones are only 2 of them. So BUNAC and Access Tier 5. And they kind of, well, they kind of become your sponsor effectively. So they become a middleman who kind of read that the contract is kind of satisfactory from the company, and they look for, again, for minimum wage, for a supernumerary role. That's how it's called. That's when you're not kind of taking a full-time position, which is unique to this company. And that there is some kind of training plan in mind, in brackets, like written with ChatGPT. So hopefully, luckily it exists. So there's some plan of what you're going to do for 12 months. So, and that's what they check in a company. Oh, and there's some ratio of 1 to 5. 1 to 3, maybe they sometimes kind of pass it. So you're not basically the first kind of person for working for the startup, but there may be at least 5 other 3, well, at least 3 people. It's very like depends. You can usually negotiate your way around it. So, and from the candidate, they just want you to graduate in the last either 24 months or 36 months. Sometimes, again, it's possible to negotiate that you graduated from any degree in any country, which is important, in the past even 4 years, and you have an adequate English. And yeah, so that's effectively an internship visa. So like that's how we kind of call it internally. So it's if you're planning to be a paid intern, then yeah, it can be done, and there's no requirement yet. So for the company to be already a licensed sponsor, they can be. So that's gonna kind of help them, and there will be less paperwork. But there's no kind of need.
Thank you much. And just one quick question about how do they decide whether the requirement for the a person or whether they graduated 24 months ago or 36 months, or is it very flexible, and how like just in terms of the eligibility criteria?
It really depends. So because you see this middleman effectively takes so they considering employer and they considering an employee, and they are kind of like checking that it's a real job and it's going to be all good, and they won't get in trouble because the kind of responsibilities are on them. So, and if you can, for example, if you graduated, I don't know, 3 years and 3 months ago, and they are kind of those requirements are set not by the Home Office, but by those endorsing bodies, and hence they're flexible, so they can say effectively whatever. So they're comfortable with. So if it's been like 3.5 years, let's say, and on their website, let's say like I don't remember. I think like Bunak asks for even like 2 years from graduation, and it's been 3. And if they're comfortable with that, if it looks like a genuine role, it looks okay, I mean they'll probably approve it. So with just speaking with them kind of usually helps. So
Yeah, I got it. Thank you so much.
Can I ask something? Yes, of course, please. Okay. Hi. Yeah. Thank you for this presentation, first of all. And I wanted to ask you, what is the success rate with your clients? Because I've heard students, international students, they have pretty like low chances of staying in the UK. Like if you like Google their ratings, it's like really bad. Like, so what would you suggest to like be in this like lucky, like a small percentage of people who actually no question?
Well, kind of define the success rate. So if we include kind of people who, I don't know, like kind of come with the fake documents and then to try to get whatever, and I don't know, and then obviously kind of fail to cheat the system, then it's well, like then it's a one kind of story. And if we like actually consider candidates who are open on, so it's always a two-way communication and work. So especially global talent visa, innovator founder visas, as I explained. So I mean, we can't and nobody can just deliver all the work for the candidate. Yes, it's possible to outsource sometimes even 60, 70, 80% of case creation, but you still need to be kind of like working together with your advisor, so providing some documents from and some evidences from your job for the global talent case. For the innovator case, you should be still kind of knowing what the business does. You still be actively involved in the business. So so there is a limit to how much it's kind of humanly possible to help. So, and obviously, yes, there are kind of cases when people just stop doing anything, and well, then they kind of blame, I don't know, immigration advisors that you're not doing well their part of the job so effectively. And yeah, in this case, well, it's um, well, we kind of write everything extremely clearly, like in the contracts and in all communications. That's what is expected from the candidate, and it's never kind of zero involvement. But if you just take the cases when we're working with a candidate, then it's pretty much 100% because, well, if you follow all the rules, you kind of like get the documents which Home Office wants you to show them. You prepare them in a nice kind of format, whether it's even the family visa or whatever. So then yes, so I would say it's 100% from one appeal, because again, there's also a human element which we should not forget and be realistic. That sometimes it's not always possible to like to get on complex cases, and will mark the case as complex. That the evidences, let's say for global talent, will be accepted from the first try. So then usually we just go and just do an appeal or the second application. So and in this case, so it works out because, well, by definition, we are not taking the cases which we don't believe should succeed in terms of the immigration rules. So if a candidate comes to us and says that he wants to do something unrealistic or something, well, misleading or effectively fake, so then we would not take this case effectively in the first place.
Okay.
No, wait, don't press. You can still hear me, right? Or
Yeah, yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay. No, I just wanted to say thank you so much for your answer. Yeah, it's very comprehensive. Okay.
Thank you. So I was wondering, so let me ask just two questions straight away, and then we'll move to other questions from the audience, if any. But I was wondering quickly, in one sec. In terms of, for example, at some point you said you have to pass specific checks with, for example, Innovator and Founder visa. So it's like IRL and Home Office, no, not IRL, but like Home Office, they actually check your performance. And so I was wondering, if there is such a situation where you have, for example, messed up one of the visas, or like you have come and then not delivered, or like something of that sort happened, is it like will it become a full no afterwards, or like is it a solvable situation? And like how often do you have, like in your practice, have you seen people like actually mess up, and like do they have a chance for redemption, or like
Well, yes, they do. If you, well, there's something called a deception, which is effectively in any visa, even a visitor visa or student visa, if you provide fake documents and if you basically been kind of caught cheating, you're effectively usually just banned from the UK for, well, usually around 10 years without the right of any appeal or whatsoever. So actually providing and faking the documents is a very, very, very bad idea. So if we're
Another-
speaking about the checkpoint, yeah.
Another bad thing is overstaying. I think like I think let's start from the beginning. The question was, so for Innovator Founder, what Nikita mentioned, it's not home office who does the check, but endorsing bodies. So you have two steps, you have endorsing body, and then you have the home office, right? So once you receive the visa, you then need to kind of renew it every year, and you renew it 3 times, and then you can either apply to ILR or you extend it again, right? So the checks are from endorsing body, not home office. In case you're completely went silent, obviously doesn't reply, you don't reply on any emails. I think in this case, like endorsing body will communicate to home office and revoke your visa. But this, I think, is the good point to note, right? And separately is, yeah, what is considered, yeah, I think in my because I'm not immigration lawyer, but what I've seen, the worst mistake was overstaying. So when you accidentally overstay on 1 or 2 days on your graduate visa or like tier 4 visa, right? Nikita, you can add here, but then in every application it's basically really bad. You can't. I know some people that couldn't even apply for citizenship because of one mistake, right? So, but yeah, Nikita, maybe you can add on some things that.
Yeah, like UK for some reasons, well, for obvious reasons, are very picky on people overstaying, and I mean, the like people doing all sorts of random things with well, applying for like a private life, let's say after 7 years, even though they don't qualify for it because it's actually 20 years when you properly qualify for a private life route. So and there's like a misconception that you have a gap between the visas that you can apply for it. Private life visa cases are only considered after 9 or 10 months, so you get like a free 9 or 10 months before your case even going to be considered. So yeah, it's shady. So and obviously we always um, like you always want to have a cleanest possible immigration history, and you want your ILR to come out in one working day, and you want your citizenship come out in like 2.5 months, right? And like you don't want to be this person with, oh, like I will stay a day 1 or 2. You probably will be able to potentially explain it at the end and actually get it, but you'll get in a conversation with the Home Office at your ILR stage and your citizenship stage, and they'll be asking, oh, like why what? Show us evidence. Or we're going to take some time to think. And when the Home Office takes some time to think, it can be 6 months, it can be 9 months, it can be God knows how long. So because it's ridiculously long. So and you'll be like in this horrible loop. So just kind of like waiting for them to write to you without an understanding. So if your case is not straightforward from having like fewer stays, a few issues there and here, and obviously there's a kind of good character test at the end where you actually need not to have any records, well, especially with the police. So it's just like keep your life simple, and then you can go absolutely crazy with a British passport and do whatever you wanted to do. So, or do like whatever crazy things you want to do in the country of your nationality, because you cannot be kicked from a country of your nationality, right? So you really want to do something crazy. So that's just kind of a life advice, I guess. Yeah.
Thank you so much. The question that's kind of coming out of it then, I mean, it's like a very, very hypothetical situation. And I would say like, let's take it as a joke, but like technically if one gets even like a small administrative conviction, like in their home country. So for example, you stepped on the grass where you shouldn't have stepped on the grass, right? And it's like now on your personal record from your country in many ways. Like for example, you smoked in a place where you shouldn't have smoked. Like will it affect the home office here in the UK, or like is it not that significant? And like how do they do this assessment?
Well, usually the court decisions are public, so and they can be Googled, and hence, if not at LR stage, then definitely at the citizenship stage, Home Office knows how to Google and Google well. So yeah, you and your, I don't know, your kind of various companies in various countries, and etc. etc. So they kind of do, I think, a pretty good, not excellent, but a good check on you. So probably they might kind of find something, and it's always better to explain it well, kind of in advance. But like the rule of thumb is pretty simple. If you didn't get a kind of custodial or whatever sentence longer than 12 months, then usually it's okay. So if you've been kind of sentenced and spent time in prison for over 12 months, or it's been even um, like a non-prison kind of custodial sentence of some kind, and it says over 12 months, so that's kind of the key. Then you're pretty much that's what they've done last year. They pretty much banned you from citizenship for the rest of your life. So if it's under 12 months, and usually for minor offenses, uh, it's it's not going to be even like 1 month. It's going to be just some, I don't know, administrative work or some fine. Then yeah, it's okay. We had people who had like even like 10 fines in like kind of reckless driving over their time in the UK, and they've been fine with citizenship. So probably getting a fine every single month or every, I don't know, every 2 months, that's probably kind of like crossing some invisible line. But maybe getting a driving ticket twice a year, maybe once a year. I mean, it's case by case, obviously, but that's probably okay. Like parking tickets, like definitely okay. But again, without having them every like month or every day. So it's really conditional, but yes, you can get some minor something like administrative kind of fines like tickets, etc. That's okay.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you so much. One moment. And so the last question for me maybe is, this is about more global talent. So, for example, some of us are graduating right now here, and so the question is, we're starting to work, and for global talent in the future potentially, what like Anna or Nikita, what would you recommend for us right now to already kind of pay attention to, and like what should we strive to, for example, showcase in our work, or like what sort of position should we kind of aim for, or like, in many ways, like how should we like what should the strategy be, or like what would you recommend us to have, like what sort of strategy would you recommend us to have?
You should be, I will just say like quickly and then pass to Anna. So, because that's more of her field. But effectively, you should be easily Googleable. So when you put your name in the Google, there should be some nice articles or maybe your presentations kind of like coming up. But effectively, you should be public. And all of those publications whatsoever, they should be not self-published. So there's a very important distinction between self-published, let's say LinkedIn, kind of versus moderated. So when someone interviewed you, they done something. Well, first of all, they wanted to interview you. Secondly, they've kind of converted the information into a piece of information of art, right? So some kind of output at the end, and then they got it published. So that is good. You writing a really good detailed article on like super complex technical whatever RT topic, that's not good because you wrote it. So make sure that effectively you are invited as a speaker, you are invited on a panel, you are um, you are invited on the interview and someone wrote something about you. So you are mentoring people and people choosing to be mentored by you. So kind of think of like external, so um, some kind of external validations. So from this point of view.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I agree completely. So it's basically when you think about global talent, if you would come, I would add few things. If you would come to like assessment calls, so basically I will ask you two things. So what company you're working, what your position is, and this company definitely needs to be in product sphere, in AI and startup sphere. So maybe the advice one, think if you are now in a position to choose and think where you want to work. So think strategically, right? Because if you want to apply it to global talent, you will need to show the company results. Maybe they fundraised, what kind of products they do, what work you do in terms of this product. So it's all about this. The second part Nikita said, but it's pretty much you'll need to provide at least 7 evidences of what you've done individually outside of your workspace: mentoring, articles, speaking, podcast, like anything. For example, and it should be positioned properly. For example, me and Nikita, now we are speaking for you at like community at UCL, but this, for example, wouldn't be qualified for global talent, even though it's speaking, even though it's in university, but the topic should be positioned properly. So if I'm applying as a kind of business candidate and a product manager, I will need to speak something about product, blah, blah, blah. The audience could be the same, but I can't speak about anything. I can't speak about 5 ways how to stay in the UK. I need to speak about my expertise. So the positioning would be the essence here.
Okay, understood. Great. Thank you so much. Thank you. Let me write it down. And you also said, just to double check, that for example, consulting and BCs and everything of that sort will not pass as will not fit as like global talent. Can you say like structurally why is it so? Because like UK does not think it like a product, or like does not think it's scalable, or why would you say so? If you're like a very talented consultant and you have no chance, or why?
Because again, to my first point, if you're a consultant, where you work, you probably work in McKinsey. What McKinsey do? So my first question would be, so what McKinsey do? And you'll say, okay, it's consulting other businesses. It's not creating product which is innovative. Basically, they don't create something, they just consult. That's
Okay, that makes sense. It's
But
like
there's no ownership in so they want basically, well, it sounds really wrong for people working in McKinsey, but like that, yeah,
No.
the effects of that they don't they create value, yeah, but they don't create a product, and hence they cannot be directly responsible for some kind of output of the product. So so that's for example, that's a new I know that there's new component to it, there's new like something new to it, or that there's double the number of users, etc., etc. So, like from the point of view of endorsing body, it's only if you have a position as an engineer or product owner or product manager, then you are responsible, well, for each kind of directly. So think of it from the equity point of view, so as an investable thing. So if you somehow related to the building of the equity, then yeah, a consultant never have a share in like in a company, and they can't grow the equity. Yeah, I don't know if that's a better example.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yes. Okay, so it's like we should also think about it like a watershed, for example, right? So it's like there are companies that are creating products and value, and there are that are just like creating value and do not like own shares and are not responsible. Okay. Okay, that sounds well.
It just
Okay,
just a requirement. If you will open the guidance, it's basically the first criteria they want to see the product led or tech company. So this is the only companies they want to see who are applying for this visa.
Okay, see. Okay, thank you so much then. Thank you. Sofiko, please go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me? Yeah, okay. Hello. Thank you very much for the talk. I was a bit late though, so I don't know if maybe you've talked about it before. But I'm wondering because as far as I understand, global talent is not only focused on like creating tech product, and you could do like research on it as well. And that kind of takes me into two questions, I guess. Do I understand it right that there are like different routes? Secondly, when you talked about publication, when we talk about research and like academia, if I'm the author of the research, would that count? I mean, it probably a bit of a silly question, but would that count still in towards the global talent visa if I'm thinking of doing that?
Yeah, uh, sure. No silly questions. So yeah, briefly, three routes for global talent: culture, science, and IT. For science, you have to have PhD in most of the cases. For IT, you have to show track that you've been working in product-led companies. No consulting, no outsource, no outsource. So, and culture, anything else. So ideally, you need to choose first track, science or IT, right? I would assume you're looking on one of those, and then to show either PhD or years working in IT startup. Yeah, so this is first question, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And second, yeah, this is absolutely correctly. If you're writing the articles, so usually like you're going as a first offer or second offer, and yeah, articles would count. It just they need to be published. We had cases where the applicant they published only on archives. Archives wouldn't count, so you need to have a link.
Right. I do have another question though. So when I looked into this, I thought of maybe changing my visas, so potentially going on like masters, then graduate, then like skilled and or global talent or something. Is that something that you can do which would count towards like an ILR rate lately, or should you later, I mean, or should you stay on one type of visa and kind of stick to it? And would that affect how they count the ILR further?
As of March 2026, yes, there's something called a long residency, which is kind of commonly known as a 10-year route, which is a mix of match of any sorts of visas except the Ukrainian scheme, except the visitor visas. So unfortunately, but mix and match of like student visas, child student, skilled worker, tier 5, even entrepreneurship, global talent, you name it. As long as you are in the UK for over 180 days, so in each of the years, there are no kind of gaps. So you are switching from visa to visa, or you've switched with, like you can switch outside the UK, but then your gap still has not exceeded 180 days, right? So you left and
Right.
probably start applying right away because it takes, well, longer outside the UK, right? So, but you
Yeah.
still haven't breached this 180 days. So, so that's actually my case. So I kind of managed to do this kind of successfully in like 3 months, and then kind of come back without so kind of reaching it, and I qualified for a 10-year route myself. So it's definitely possible. Oh, and as I said, you need to still satisfy the old rule that whenever you started living and until the April of 2024, your total count of absences does not exceed 540 days. So kind of minus the COVID and minus some exceptional circumstances, i.e., when you physically could not travel. And yes, that's, I think we haven't covered that, but many people ask for any visas for any when you're exceeding the day count. Like again, home office is not stupid, so they will count and exempt those absences only if it was a COVID related. In concrete terms, it means when the planes were not physically flying, and we just go on a website of your government and we see that, okay, from this March till this June of like 2021, there were physically no flights. So, and then if you decided to return back to the UK, not in June, but in October, so not on the first available flight, then June to October, they will count towards the absences because it's you voluntarily deciding not to come back on the first flight. So that's the logic of the home office. Again, same with any illness. Yes, if you've been hospitalized, you like, I don't know, you can't leave physically because you're not capable of moving, then yes. But then when you got better, you could move to home. You decided to spend maybe 2 months there, so just to kind of rehabilitate, like with your family, etc., etc. Those 2 months won't count because, well, it's your choice. Obviously the whatever time you spend in the hospital, not able to move, that will kind of be excluded from the day count for a visa. So that's how it works in very simple terms, usually with any exceptions.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. I actually have another question. If I can have it. Sorry. Again, I'm just a bit confused as well with the RQF grades in skilled visa, because everyone is talking how like they raised the salary rates, but at the same time there are like different levels which are still somewhat low, I guess. So I guess I'm wondering, do I understand correctly that there are different levels and different salary rates, and do these levels affect somehow then the route that you can take to ILR?
Not particularly. Well, it's extremely complex. So with the skilled worker visa, how they've done it in the last kind of 6-9 months, they just done an amendment on amendment on amendment. So it's now exception on exception on exception, and so it's like honestly, it's increasingly confusing. So like even for us, so who are kind of dealing with this on a daily basis, and for I have no idea how people should understand like on which kind of category like E or F or whatever exceptions they fall into. And yeah, so there's lots of issues around that. But let's keep it to the basics. So usually any universal minimum wage should be 41,700 or whatever is minimum for your job code. So for example, if it's a role not like an average role, but it's like a directorship role, then for this code, you can Google it up. The minimum wage will be like 65,000, for example, not
Right.
41.7. So you need to choose whatever is either 41.7 or whatever is minimum for this role. So there are exceptions. So if you're under 25, if you're a recent graduate, so you graduated and you've held only graduate visas or skilled worker visas in the last 4 years, or you have a PhD, then you would qualify for a reduced rate, which is again 33,400, so 33.4K, or whatever is written for this role. So you can take this role, but again for maximum of 4 years total, and then you need to upgrade to 41.7K. So that's roughly how it works. There are also higher skilled roles, medium skilled roles. That's effectively just make sure that this role is on the kind of higher skilled role. So effectively if you're applying now. So just Google up this skilled worker appendix, and it will have like only the higher skilled roles, or just come to us, we'll show where to find it.
Thank
So,
you.
and the job description of the role should match of roughly not 100%, but like 70-80% of what you're planning to do. So because they're still pretty wide.
Sure.
So
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, girls, can you just come here?
Wait,
I think I have to speak to the camera this way. So yeah, so thank you both, Nikita and Anna. We enjoyed your advice very, very much, and just thank you for everything. Girls are laughing because it's a very funny situation. Sorry, just my laptop died. Yes, so as a matter of fact, yes. So thank you once again, and looking forward to seeing you on other our events. And also, I'll try to catch you somehow to give the gifts from EBS for like thank you for the participation. We're very, very grateful. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Best of
Have a
luck,
lovely-
and any questions you can.
Of course, absolutely. We'll give the contacts out. Thank you so much.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. No
Bye.
worries.
Thank you.
Thank you for participating.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Цыпко, не отключайся. Цыпко, no! Цыпко, еще не отключайся. Приветики, как тебе? Все good?
Привет. Все
Да,
хорошо.
тут
Блин,
сзади.
там просто огромное лицо, да?
Да, у тебя сейчас просто большое лицо на экране. Маш, сфотографируй, пожалуйста. Так, все, ладно, мне потом, видимо, нужно будет обрезать этот рекординг, а то сейчас так. Да. Ну, а вы просто чисто на экране какой-то там прикол сзади ходит. Ой, подождите, ребята, подождите, я сейчас переключу на нас. Сделайте фотку, типа нас видео на экране сейчас. Минуту. Pin for me. Да, вот так, все. Ой, пиздец, что тут голосовали. Да, тебя неплохо смотрится сзади, не буду врать. Нет, совершенно. Так, все, ладно. Вот, подожди, фоткаем вот это вот, а мы стоим вот так, да. Ваш только вот так. У меня... Давайте я вас сфотографирую. Встаньте просто все сюда. А ты не хочешь? Ну, сейчас я тоже хочу, конечно, но просто, мне кажется, это какой-то такой, знаете, типа, супер вайб. Сейчас, подождите, вот так вот. А, нет, вот так. А теперь смотрим сюда. Да, поэтому еще. Любимый вес. Класс, все. Я иду домой. Вы такие прикольные. Прикольные, да. Так, все, ладно, Софийко, тогда включайся спокойно. В общем, все, мы тебя очень сильно любим. Давай. Целую, пока-пока.
Спасибо, что дали ссылочку. Было приятно,
Очень
интересно.
очень
Спасибо
рада.
за организацию. Hey, girls, you look fire as well. I mean,
We've just finished. Everyone disconnected from online. Алексей пришел. Так,
все, всем пока.
пока. Если что, я все тебе кину. Давай, все детали.
Спасибо, пока-пока.
Just sobered up.
Just sobered up. What do you mean? You didn't... What?
Then I went to the embassy. I was 3 champagnes down.
Oh, so you stay for the drinks?
Yeah, because I think the drinks were